Amanda with StraightSmile Solutions, StraightSmileSolutions.com, and today we're going to talk about counter moments in braces, how to derotate premolars with power chain, and you could also do this with canines or molars is needed. So, but most commonly, I use it to derotate premolars, and I'm going to explain what you're looking at here. So, I kind of did this just with some Photoshop, but you can see this number 29 is rotated. This is where the facial cusp tip is, the buccal cusp tip right here. Here's the lingual. Okay, so it's about, I don't know, 45, 50, 60 degrees rotated. So what's going to happen if you just put the bracket right here and you know where it's supposed to go is, first of all, you may not be able to put the bracket on perfectly because it's too rotated. If you can put it on perfectly, you might be okay. You might not need to do this MacGyver act. But if you can't put it on perfectly, that's where I don't even put the bracket on at bonding. If I can't put it on perfectly, I have a philosophy, no, don't do it. Because what's going to happen is you're going to forget that you didn't put it on perfectly. Because it's going to kind of quasi-improve, but it's not going to fully improve. And then later you're going to forget, and then you're going to be like, oh no, and you're going to miss the bus to reposition it. So it's much more efficient if you put all the brackets on perfectly that you can put on perfectly, and then use a series of buttons in your initial aligning wires. So you might have like a 14 niti, you've engaged everything. You would probably want to leave your 14 niti short, cinch this end in, put a button as far mesial as you can go, because buttons are smaller than brackets, right? So you put it as far mesial as you can go, so maybe more like even here, where you can still engage the button, okay? Then you put another button as far distal as you can go on the distal lingual, okay? Again, buttons are smaller than a bracket, so you can get in there more. And you also put another button here or here. You could do either way, wherever you can. Usually buttons are pretty tiny, so you should be able to get it here, but if you can't, you can put it here. And then obviously you have a band and a hook here, but if you didn't, you could just connect it to the bracket there. Then this is a piece of power chain that goes from here to here, and a segment of power chain going from this button to this button, or this button to this button if you put it there, okay? And, you know, pretty tight, not crazy tight. There's no wire on this tooth. There's no wire going back here, okay? And this power chain's pulling it this way, and this power chain's pulling it this way, and we call this a counter moment. So it's much more efficient than just pulling one side. You're pulling both sides. It works very similar to what we do in Invisalign, and I have a separate video on that where you put an attachment here, an attachment there, and it helps to spin that tooth in Invisalign. But you could even, like, let's say you wanted to do like a more express kind of Invisalign, but you had like one crazy rotated tooth, you could theoretically, you could pre-rotate that premolar just with a series of buttons, not even any wires. You could pre-rotate it. Now remember, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So when you're in braces, you know, you're in kind of light wires. I mean, this one might rotate a little bit this way as it's pulling this one this way, and that's okay. It's not going to be that much. And same thing, this molar, which is less likely to, it might rotate a little bit in this way, but it's going to be super minor because that's a much bigger tooth, right? Because if you're pitting a big tooth against a little tooth, it's probably not going to move much. This one is most likely to do the majority of the movement. Then once you've rotated enough that you can put the bracket on properly and engage it, you pull the buttons off, and it's probably only going to be a month or two, and you put the bracket on properly, and then you just treat it like any other tooth because you've already rotated it, you know, possibly the whole way, or at least 30 degrees or something like that. So that is how I rotate premolars, counter moments in braces. Now you can do that if the tooth is up to 90 degrees rotated, I would say, you know, if it's like totally at, you know, a full rotation. If it is 180 rotated, you just leave it. You don't try to spin it. Unless you have a crazy amount of space where you could get in there and actually spin it, usually we just leave them if they're completely rotated around. But if it's up to 90, that's how we're going to rotate it. Now, of course, if it's 180 and it's completely flip-flopped, you're going to have the higher cusp on the lingual, which is going to affect the occlusion, so you may have to flatten the occlusion a little bit in order to get a good bite. All right, hopefully that was helpful. Really, really easy way. You can get buttons from anywhere. I would just get the cheap metal buttons if you're gonna do that. You can get it from eBay or any, I mean, it's like 20 cents each. So it's a no-brainer. All right, thanks so much. And then if you want to watch any of my other videos on rotating premolars, you can just go into my channel, which is StraightSmile Solutions, not YouTube in general, but StraightSmile Solutions YouTube channel. Search, you can look at our Straightwire playlist, which has, I think, over 130 videos that are helpful. And I make a new one almost every day. So we have 3,000 videos already. We add at least 4 or 5 a week. So it's crazy growing. This is free orthodontic education. And no reason to even take a class. You can learn everything you need to know about every kind of ortho pretty much just from our free educational videos that we put out there just to help the community per your request. We do take suggestions. No, we don't do that much surgical videos. We try to keep it light and easy ortho that GPs and pediatric dentists can do. But if you see something we don't have, try search for it by keyword. If you can't find it, send me the suggestion. If I can do it, I will make a video about it and get it up there within a week for you. Yes. And of course, if you need help with an individual case, we do offer one-on-one consulting. Our fees are on our website at StraightSmileSolutions.com. Click on services and you can see our fees are going up in October 2021. Towards the end, after ADA, after Smiles at Sea Dental Festival, once we get back, I will probably raise those fees by about Halloween. And if you subscribe to our unlimited plans, they're a month to month, our concierge and VIP plans, or a premium plan, those fees will be going up as well, but you can lock in your rates indefinitely. We never ever raise rates on doctors who stay consistent. Once you cancel or pause, your rates go up. So you can save a ton of money if you subscribe before October. All right, thanks.